First of all, thank you everybody for joining us today on this webinar. My name is Elena Bodas. I'm the marketing manager for the Middle East. I'm going to be the moderator of the session. Then, first of all, I would like to introduce to you the two speakers that we have today with us. We have Ahmad Saad, a regional sales manager, and Mahmoud Tayem, a manager sales engineer, and they are going to share with us today all his view regarding this webinar. We have the title Moving Beyond SharePoint, Building Your Digital Strategy on Liferay DXP. Then let's see what they need to share with us. I'm going to remind you that if you have any question, you can ask them on the chat. Then using the chat, we are going to receive your answer. And we will answer them at the end of the session. Then all yours, Ahmad.
Thank you, Elena, for the introduction. And hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this today webinar. So let's start from the beginning. We're starting today with the reality check. So in the current market, we see that there is a significant gap between business ambitions and the technical execution. So most of the modern businesses are facing high level of complexity. They need to serve wide range of audience of stakeholders, from customers, partners, suppliers, and global employees, but all within one or single ecosystem. However, because of many organizations are still caught in the legacy trap, they are still attempting to serve these complex external facing needs using legacy solutions or a collaboration platform that were designed originally to be a closed system or for internal productivity platforms. So now, before we jump into the differences between like Liferay and SharePoint and the use cases that everyone addresses, let's set up the scene and briefly give you an idea of what is the digital experience platform and go into a little bit about the history. Okay, so a DXP in general, okay, it's not a new concept. It's been there for at least 10 years. Okay, and till the moment we can see organizations that are still using everything, or they think in silos. So we have some organizations that they're using web content management / CMSs, okay, to build their websites, okay, and we need here to think of technologies like WordPress, for example, okay, and we have a lot of other organizations that they want to build their portals to serve their employees or to have an authenticated experiences, meaning someone is putting their username and password to consume services like in like government, for example. They want to build digital services, for example, a platform. So they rely on technologies like SharePoint. And we have the third kind of organizations that they want to have an e-commerce / shopping experiences, and they rely on technologies like Shopify. So all of them, web content management / CMS, portals, commerce, evolved to be a full digital experiences platform with time. So if you want to have a full digital experiences, you need to have a proper DXP that can solve all of those issues that those separate or silos technologies currently working for. So in the modern day, a digital experience platform should include many things. Number one is definitely the CMS sites for you to create a draggable and reusable components for the marketeers / the business users to use. You need to provide a personalized experiences for all of the different people that are coming to your website / your portal. DXP also include a digital asset management / document management to manage all of the medias or the digital assets that you have. Commerce / marketplaces. You also need to understand what people are doing on your website, on your portal. So you need to have analysis and optimization to provide better experiences. Definitely search, which is it's extremely needed in all of those DXPs, and omnichannel, because the web is not the only solution. We have kiosks, we have wearables, and of course, mobile. So this is what currently DXP is covering overall. Now, the current problem that we see in the market, that again, this is due to the segregation, and we always think in silos when it comes to providing the experiences. in any customer journey, irrespective, it was for citizens, for a government, or if I'm insurance, I'm providing services for the policyholder and so on, okay? What is currently happening in a lot of organizations that the journey is fragmented, okay? I have a lot of backend systems and the representation layer for those are different. What DXP is trying to do is to have a unified digital platform. Consider it like a blanket that will sit on all of the backend systems that you have, and then present them in a nice manner, on a seamless way, making sure that you are understanding the people behavior or the customer behavior from the day that touch your website till the moment that they went to your portal and consume the services, and so on and so forth. Now, I always like to use this terminology. It's not a new one. It's an old one that defined by Gartner back then, okay? But I always like to use it. Of course, I can give you the sophisticated one later on. But what Gartner said, DXP is an integrated set of technologies based on common platform that provides broad range of audiences. And here we spoke about the audiences. It can be your customers, your partners, your employees, and so on, with consistent, secure, and personalized access to information and application across many digital touchpoints. And for them, a DXP should combine of content management, search, navigation, personalization, integration, multi-channel support, analytics, and workflow, but all combined within the same platform. So now we spoke a little bit about the history and what is DXP. Let's look at the use cases that we usually serve in that space. So number one, as we spoke, we need to provide a website, okay, that it can be multi-branded and personalized. It's easy to use by business users. I'm going to show you some also videos later on of how we create those experiences. Also, number two, when we think about DXPs, we need to think about the customer portal. Again, it can be, for example, an insurance. It can be the policyholder portal. It can be for banking, for example, online banking, government services, and so on and so forth. Employees is a big factor here. So this is where, if you are a SharePoint user, a lot of the SharePoint users are using SharePoint for an intranet, which is to enhance the employees' experiences. This is something that also we can cover in the DXP. Partner portal, it can be your supplier, it can be your vendor, it can be G2G scenarios. All of this also can be covered within the DXP. And lastly is the digital commerce. Okay, so those on a very high level, what a DXP should cover in terms of different use cases. Now let's look side by side between, for example, what SharePoint is offering and what Liferay is offering as a DXP. So let's start from SharePoint. So definitely it's a robust system that is built and designed for team collaboration, which is making sure that I'm bringing all of the communication with the different units or different departments, collaborate with each other, tagging each other, following each other, and so on and so forth. It's very good when it comes to document management. So all of the capabilities between versioning, labeling, all of those is covered by SharePoint. And of course, due to the nature of Microsoft, they have a very strong integration when it comes to 365. So this comes out of the box within the SharePoint. However, you need to also consider Liferay, who can cover all of that we have in SharePoint between team collaboration, document management, and integration with Office 365. And even beyond. Okay, so for example, when it comes to integration with Office 365, we do an integration with it and with the G Suite, for example. Document management is the same. And Liferay is used when it comes to external and internal portal development. So all of the stakeholders that you are serving can be covered within a DXP. We also have an advanced personalization. We're going to speak about it a little bit, but in general, what we aim to do is to provide different experiences based on the people that are coming to your portal / your website. And this is not only applied to the external users, it can so apply to the internal users. So imagine you are an organization. I want to provide a specific experiences with a different tasks or a different look and feel for my higher management. So this is something that you can easily deploy in Liferay out of the box. The beauty of Liferay that can serve multiple use cases with the same environment, with the same tenant, because it's multi-tenancy. So you can create multiple domains, multiple use cases, but all within the same investment that you're doing with Liferay. Now let's dig deeper more into some of the differences here. So again, let's start from the beginning. Now the core purpose, as we said, DXP is for multi-audience, and it's a full digital experience. If you look at SharePoint, it's more into collaboration and document management, so it's more tend to be an internal use. Yes, we see some customers who's using it for public for example, websites, which is not recommended even by Microsoft themselves. Primary use case of Liferay is definitely your website, authenticated portals, employees, and intranet. Again, as we said, it's mainly for SharePoint for internal use. External use, its native support when it comes to SharePoint is somehow limited. Now, this is something that's very important. In Liferay, we have a built-in workflow engine. And of course, we can integrate with more sophisticated BPM systems like Camonda, for example. In SharePoint, there is no workflow, so I always need to rely from day one on different solutions. It can be a standalone workflow engines or using, for example, Microsoft Power Platforms. Integrations with Liferay is very easy, and it's something that we're really good at. So we can integrate with any backend system that you have, all about open APIs and flexibility when it comes to the integration with enterprise systems. However, when it comes to SharePoint, it's mainly limited, and it's mainly integration with Office 365. Customization in Liferay is very easy. So if you're not using the out-of-the-box of Liferay, you can customize in any progressive web application that you like. So it's agnostic. Agnostic in terms of the technology stack. However, when it comes to SharePoint, it's mainly on .NET stack. Deployment of Liferay, it can be PaaS, SaaS, and on your cloud, which is private cloud, or on your data center. So we have all of the flavors here with the same functionalities. However, if you want to go with SharePoint, so mainly you're stuck with the Microsoft cloud. Okay. Design system, which is very important here to represent your look and feel, to provide the better experiences that you want for your audience. In Liferay is unlimited, and it can integrate with any design system that is there. In Microsoft, it's going to be a little bit limited. Okay, so this is side by side, quick comparison between Liferay and SharePoint. Let's look at the high-level capabilities of Liferay. So within the platform of Liferay, we have more than 150 out-of-the-box functionalities. We have our own design system, but as I mentioned before, we can integrate with any design system. We're very good when it comes to the experience management. I'm going to show you some videos now. But again, the idea here is we want to give the power to the business users, to the content authors, to change things on the fly, to add their themes, colors, and so on based on their needs. We have full digital asset management. So again, here, not only to manage your documents, but also to manage your media, your images. You can tag them, you can search for them, and so on and so forth. We have low-code application building capabilities within the platform. We have drag and drop forms and workflow. We do a full analysis. We can understand what people are doing on your website from day one. It can be also for anonymous users. We do full personalization and segmentation, search, multi-channel support, collaboration, and social. We have full identity management model in Liferay. We can be the SSO provider. We can be the SSO receiver. And it's very strong when it comes to roles and permissions. Now, this is like one part of the capabilities. Again, if you look at, for example, the different use cases that we serve, which is, for example, like commerce/marketplaces, we have full catalog and product browsing, order management, shipment, and so on and so forth. The beauty of Liferay is that all of this comes from day one, and our role to make sure that you are adopting as much as possible from those tools and capabilities that we provide to you. Now, let's look at one of the examples here. Again, I'm not going to go into all of the details that we have in Liferay, but let's look at, for example, the experiences manager that we have in Liferay. The scenario that we have here is for a telco operator. And again, what we do in Liferay with our partners is we build the reusable components, and those components can be used in a drag and drop manner. Again, giving the full freedom for your business users, but at the same time, they can change things in a structured manner. Okay, so again, as you can see here, we presented, for example, a page with a specific price and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to personalization, which is a very important part, okay, it's not very hard and it's not limited now as before. And what we mean by personalization is that I'm providing a different experiences to different people based on a specific segment that I define, but all of them are going to the same URL or to the same website/portal. So again, going back to the previous example, so what we have here is we say that I want to create a new experience, okay, and I say like, okay, this is not a typical plan. This is, for example, for families. And as you can see on the right side, I have some kind of parameters. It can be the age, it can be the job title, the browsing language that you are using, from which country you are coming to, and so on. Again, use them in a drag and drop manner, if yes, if you want to call it. And then I have the segment that I want to target. Now, once I create the segment, then I can go to my platform and I can change the look and feel, the content, the pricing, images, everything. So again, this is how we do, for example, the personalization in engine in Liferay. All right. What we have also more is that most of the features that a lot of customers who's using SharePoint is currently using. So for example, I want to create a knowledge base, wikis, global calendars, blogs, and so on and so forth. So all of those is out of the box in Liferay, and it's literally with the minimal intervention from the IT department. When it comes to managing my documents and my media, we have all of the main functionalities like check-in, check-out, labeling, versioning, giving specific permissions. I can see version control. I can look at the history. All of this is part of the platform. And at the same time, I have search capabilities. So we are using Elasticsearch here. So it's not only searching, of course, on the content that you have on your website / your portal, but I can also search on the documents that you currently have uploaded. And of course, supporting multiple languages. Now let's look at the services part. So irrespective if it was an intranet or an external portal, definitely you have a forms to consume kind of services. And the idea that we want to have in Liferay is to make it very easy also for the business users. Again, as you can see on this video, it's a drag and drop capabilities. And it's not only a static form, it can be a dynamic form. So we have a rule engine behind it, meaning that while I'm filling the form, the cells can change based on your answer. So if you said like, I live in Dubai, I can see certain fields that I need to fill, where if I put another country or let's say Riyadh, then I can see different things. So here it depends on what people are filling, then the form will change automatically. Definitely behind any form, there's a workflow engine. And again, this is to consume the services and to help the submissions that I have. And it's very powerful in Liferay. You have all of the main features that is required. And again, all of this is drag and drop. And on top of that, you will have some kind of governance. So we have what we call an SLA metrics, meaning that I can understand if I receive 100 submission on this service, I can see that 50%, for example, is tracked, 50% is not tracked. I can see what's the bottlenecks, and I can define better SLA for providing better services in the future. All right. So this is like the high level of the capabilities that we have in Liferay, okay? But also Mahmoud here is very eager also to show you the new things that we have in Liferay. So we have something that's called AI Hub. It's a new in Liferay, okay? And maybe Mahmoud, I'll give it to you maybe to explain more.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you so much for this. So as you know, like the era right now is going toward like AI. And for Liferay, this is a very important feature that we need to offer to our customers. So right now we're releasing something called AI Hub, where you can orchestrate different AI agents to work together under one umbrella and to do the task that is required. The nice thing about AI Hub, it can be integrated with right now with the Gemini and other LLMs coming down the road. As you can see here in this video, what you're looking at is the AI content generation. So the AI content generator here, you will give it a simple prompt, as you can see in the screen. And once it's done, it will create a site, create the content, and will generate all of that in less than 5 to 10 minutes. So let's just watch the video here. As you can see, I asked him to create a simple website for my DevCon event that comes in October. I asked him to create a couple of content blogs. And as you can see, once it's done, the AI will respond. And once it's done, the website has been created, and the content in our new web, CMS, which called the content spaces, has been generated. Now, the nice thing here about what's happening, it's not just generating a website. What's happening there is like we have an AI hub that has an orchestrator where you can orchestrate the different tasks within this prompt. And then it will allow the AI to call different AI tasks or to call a different AI agents. And once it's done, it will aggregate all of that under one task accomplished. Now, this is our new CMS, which is you're looking at right now. And that's the content has been generated there. This is the full website has been created under Liferay. And it's not only like a normal website. This is like a website with a reusable component that Liferay has generated from the content generation wizard. And it's fully integrated with our design system, where you can just change the design tokens, and that will reflect directly into the screen, as you can see. You don't need to rebuild things. You don't need to deploy a new thing. Master pages, content pages, all of that will be done for you in a second.
Okay. Thank you, Mahmoud.
Welcome.
Right. So the last thing here is I want you to always think of Liferay when it comes to all of the functionalities and the features that we have. So the plan here is always to start with an idea, and any idea that you can apply, it can be definitely applied to Liferay. So now what we introduced recently is something that we call also the content marketing platform. So content marketing platform is the capabilities that is provided to your business users / your marketeers. The idea behind it is to provide the full collaboration platform to unify all of the efforts that they are building at the same place, to manage your assets using the Liferay digital asset management, to help the people using, or creating the content on Liferay CMS, to create the sites, again, in drag and drop. Again, if you want to build a commerce / marketplace, something that we can have in Liferay, personalization that I showed you, analysis, and AI Hub that Mahmoud already showed you. Okay, so this is a quick overview between, let's say, the legacy solutions that we have in the market, for example, like SharePoint, and how we can evolve to a full DXP like Liferay. So I'll stop now, and if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Ahmad. It was amazing, the presentation. I think it was so clear. Then I'm going to remind everybody that they can use this chat that you see on the lower part of your screen. Then there you can start sharing your questions. And during the presentation, we just start having some kind of questions. And let me check, and let's see if you can, Ahmad or Mahmoud, can you help us to solve these questions? The first one, they mentioned that someone is currently using a Microsoft 365 plan that includes SharePoint. And what point that's switching to Liferay actually makes sense? Ahmad, perhaps you can take that one.
Yeah, very good question. So the idea here is that I know that Microsoft is providing this as part of the 365, which is very cool, and sometimes it's not to use when it comes to internal. But we usually ask our customers to move, or once they evolve more, to provide better experiences, especially for the external users. So what we see a lot of customers using, for example, SharePoint as their website / their portal. And this is, in a way, is not supported heavily by Microsoft. Apart from the idea of it's very hard coded, it's hard for people to use SharePoint when it comes to business users and so on. So usually we ask our customers to move to SharePoint when there is a multiple use cases that I need to serve, but all within the same ecosystem or within the same platform. And which is, in general, it's a natural progression based on the businesses that you have.
Thank you so much. I think that is clear. If you have someone want to any other clarification, please let us know. We are receiving more questions, and let me go for the next one. Someone is asking, agnostic technology means in Liferay. This is one of the questions. If we can answer that one.
Yeah, maybe Mahmoud.
Yeah, yes, I will take this question. That's an amazing question. Actually, I'm looking at the question. So it's like 2 questions there, or 3 actually. So we have like agnostic technology means SEO friendly URL and the accessibility guidelines. So let's take it one by one. So for agnostic, we literally mean it, because when you go for SharePoint and you go for like customization, that's where it's not agnostic, because you need to do the customization in .NET. Now, if it will allow you to inject like JavaScript framework, it will allow you to inject that within a certain framework that is allowed for you as a developer to do the customization. However, in Liferay, when I say agnostic, whether it's a backend customization, front-end customization, we allow you to choose your technology stack. So I will give you an example. So imagine that you're building like a website, and that website there is a slider. Very simple. Now the slider has a backend, has a front end. The front end is like, I need to do it in Angular. And at the backend, I need to do it in Node.js. There is zero, let's say, issues with Liferay in that. Do Liferay will ask you to inject some dependency, which will lock you down on a certain version? Zero, nothing. Because for the front end, we are asking you to build things as per the standard, which is the standard of components. For the backend, we're just asking you to build an endpoint that Liferay client extension will accept. And that's how we just integrate with your customization within Liferay with zero risk on your like technology stack, or even a zero risk on whatever you write will affect the core of Liferay. Now, if you compare this to what SharePoint was doing a long time ago, which called Sandbox, but still the Sandbox, they used to inject that inside SharePoint, and that will affect the SharePoint itself, the runtime or the kernels of SharePoint itself. However, what we are saying right now, the backend will be sitting beside Liferay. It doesn't affect the core of Liferay, so any issues in the code or the customization will not destroy your core business. Moreover, if you're doing customization on a backend level, which requires some extra permissions, you can control that, because now the way that we communicate between Liferay and your customization happens through the headless, and the headless should have the token and should have the scopes allowed. So that's how we are like 100% agnostic. Now for SEO and friendly URL, that's out of the box feature. So for any page, you can define the SEO. For any page, you can define the friendly URL. And even if you know more about Liferay objects, even the object has a friendly URL that you can just set the prefix for it. Accessibility guideline by default is supported by Liferay, and you can even implement yours. I hope I answered your question.
Maybe Elena, we go
Yep.
to the...
Yep, thank you. There is a lot of questions that are coming. Then let's see how many of them we can answer. We are going to take that one. How easy or difficult is to migrate from SharePoint? Is it a complete rebuild from scratch, or is there a migration path to shorten time to market?
Okay, so I don't think there is like a plain answer for that, because different implementation means different migration plan. Some customer will have like a direct migration using an ETL, where I can define, like, if I'm using SharePoint right now, I can even put the content in a static pages, or I can have it structured in custom lists and custom apps, which is, if I recall it in the right way, the custom libraries. Now, if there is a structured content, then a simple ETL that will allow us to migrate things from SharePoint directly into Liferay. If there is more customization on the pages, then we need to rethink about, like, do I need this customization? Like, it's not about like I need to migrate everything. I need to think about, because there's many limitation in SharePoint. So this limitation means customization means like when I go to Liferay, this is an out of the box feature. So do I need to do the migration? That's the question. So there is no like clear answer for that. It depends on the use case, depends on the number of pages, number of, let's say, customization that's there, if it's required or not.
Thank you so much. So much, Mahmoud. We have another question here. Someone mentioned that they are already investing heavily in Microsoft, and they want to know why would they add another platform instead of moving to SharePoint Online.
Sure. So I can see more that because they're using Teams, Power Platform, Copilot, and so on. Thank you very much for the question. So in general here is, when we look at, for example, serving an external stakeholders, this is where you need to provide personalization. You need, for example, in some cases, you need to provide authenticated experiences. You need to have full analysis. You need to also, maybe it depends on your business, to provide shopping experiences / commerce. So all of this is something that you can provide on Liferay. Plus the things that is already there in SharePoint when it comes, for example, to an intranet use cases. So the idea here is, if you are thinking about unifications, I would say, based on my view, is that Liferay can help you on the unifications against, for example, the technology stack of Microsoft, because, again, here you cannot build all of those using Microsoft as we speak. At the same time, depends, again, we don't know what is your business and so on, but it's also important sometimes on sovereignty. So in Liferay, you can deploy Liferay on-prem or on your account on any public cloud provider, for example, like Microsoft Azure or AWS and so on. And at the same time, you can use Liferay PaaS and SaaS. So you have all of the deployment options here. So I hope I answered you.
Thank you so much. I think that's so clear. I think that we are going to take one more because we are running out of time. And the next one is in terms of agnostic technology. Do we need to follow and use? And do you want to take that, Mahmoud?
Yes.
But
So
let's read the question to everyone. So here is, I think the question is to use an SDK and to choose any backend technology.
Yeah. So the nice thing about Liferay, I was saying, it's totally agnostic when it comes to customization. So how the architecture of a client extension works. So you have Liferay as a block, and then beside Liferay, you will have your microservices if it's a backend solution. And if there's like a front-end customization, it will be like either if it's in the past, it will be a Docker container, or it will be injected into Liferay directly, or you can just reference that into Liferay. It means I don't need to have any reference for anything from Liferay. What I need to understand is how Liferay exposed their functionality through headless API. And since Liferay can run totally headless, so any action, not module, any action within Liferay has the equivalent API or endpoint for that. So you don't need to do it in a manner like I need to give you a software development kit in order for you to build something in your preferred language. You just need to know how to call an API and how to generate tokens for Liferay or how to exchange the tokens for Liferay. That's all what you need to do. Zero injection of any dependency from Liferay.
Thank you so much. I mean, we are running out of time. It's okay for you, Tim, to answer the question remaining by email or
No, it's fine. I think there is one question which is really easy to answer. I can answer it now.
You can take that one.
Yeah, one of the questions is like, is Liferay hosted, for example, on a public cloud provider in Saudi? So the answer is yes. We have our PaaS and SaaS offering, which is available on Google Saudi on GCP.
Super quick. Thank you so much. Then we have one less to answer via email. Then thank you, Tim, for your presentation, for your time today. Thank you, everybody that joined today to this webinar. I think that is super interesting. There's a lot of people joining. There's a lot of questions coming. Then let's see on the next webinar. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Elena.